Once upon a time, in a vast green meadow that stretched as far as the eye could see, there lived a cheerful grasshopper. He was tall and slender, with long legs that helped him leap high into the air. His emerald green body shimmered in the sunlight, and his wings carried him from one blade of grass to another as he chirped a merry tune. The grasshopper loved nothing more than to play. From morning to evening, he sang songs, strummed his legs like a violin, and hopped joyfully under the golden summer sun. The world was his stage, and every day was a festival. One day, as the grasshopper basked in the warm glow of the sun, he spotted a long line of ants marching in perfect rhythm. Each tiny ant carried a seed, a crumb, or a leaf, something small yet important. They moved with purpose, their black bodies glistening as they worked tirelessly. Curious, the grasshopper bounded toward them. "Why do you work so hard?" he called out, his voice filled with laughter. "The sun is bright. The air is warm. Come, let's sing and dance instead." But the ants did not stop. One of them, a sturdy-looking worker ant, glanced up at the grasshopper and said, "We are preparing for the winter. When the cold winds blow and the frost covers the land, there will be no food to find. So we must gather now while the fields are full." The grasshopper chuckled, waving a dismissive hand. "Winter is far away? Why waste such a perfect day worrying about something that may never come? Look at the sky, it's clear and blue. Listen to the breeze, it sings of joy. There's no need to toil when there's so much fun to be had." But the ants knew better. They continued their work, carrying food to their underground home, where their queen awaited. Day after day, the scene repeated. The ants worked, collecting grains, nuts, and seeds, while the grasshopper danced and played. He watched them with amusement, never once considering their words. Weeks passed, and summer slowly melted into autumn. The once bright fields turned golden and crisp. The trees shed their leaves, painting the ground in a carpet of red and orange. Then, without warning, winter arrived. The sky grew heavy with thick gray clouds. The sun, once warm and welcoming, now hid behind a curtain of frost. The wind howled through the barren meadow, and a blanket of snow covered the land. The grasshopper, once so carefree, now shivered beneath a brittle leaf, his wings trembling with cold. The air was silent, his songs had faded, the flowers had withered, and the grass was buried beneath ice. There was no food to be found. Desperate, the grasshopper wandered through the frozen land. His belly ached, his limbs grew weak. He searched for even a single crumb, but the once bountiful meadow had become a lifeless wasteland. Then, in the distance, he spotted something, an anthill, standing tall against the snow. With what little strength he had left, he stumbled forward, tapping at the entrance. Inside, the ants were safe and warm. Their chambers were filled with food, their tiny bodies huddled together for warmth. The same worker ant who had once spoken to him emerged. "Please," the grasshopper pleaded, his voice no longer merry but weak and desperate. "I have no food. I have nowhere to go. Will you share with me?" The ant looked at him, his small eyes filled with understanding but also firm resolve. "All summer long we warned you, yet you chose to play instead of prepare. We worked while you danced. Now winter is here, and the harvest is gone." The grasshopper lowered his head in shame. He had laughed at their hard work, but now he understood the price of his folly. The ant sighed, then turned to the others. After a moment of hushed whispers, he spoke again. "We will help you this time, but remember this lesson. Next summer you must work as we do, so that when winter comes again, you will not find yourself hungry and alone." The grasshopper, filled with gratitude, bowed his head. "I promise," he whispered. And so, the ants shared a small portion of their food with him. He stayed in their tunnels, warm and safe, learning from their ways. When spring arrived and the frost melted away, the grasshopper emerged, not as a careless wanderer, but as a wiser creature. That year, when the ants marched through the fields collecting their stores, the grasshopper was no longer singing idly. He was working alongside them, for he had learned a lesson he would never forget. There is a time for play and there is a time for work. Those who fail to prepare today will suffer tomorrow.